stood up, broken hearted again. I bet she's out having a ball and not even thinking of Vietnam. Stood up, broken hearted again. I know just what I ought to do. I ought to find somebody new. Baby, I could forget about you. Stood up, broken hearted again. I watch Gunnar play guitar. Well, I guess I'm the one being fool, sitting around looking for you. Stood up, broken hearted again. I know just what I ought to do. I ought to find somebody new. Baby, I could forget about you. Stood up, broken hearted again. Stood up, broken hearted again. Stood up, broken hearted again. This one you might have heard before. Well, I used to play around with hearts that hastened at my call. Poor little fool, oh yeah, I was a fool, poor little fool, I was a fool, oh yeah. She told me how she cared for me, that we never part. So for the very first time, I gave away my heart. Poor little fool, oh yeah. Laid around and teased me with her carefree devil eyes. She'd hold me close and kiss me, but her heart was full of lies. Poor little fool, oh yeah, I was a fool, poor little fool, I was a fool, oh yeah. But the next day she was gone and I knew she'd lied to me. She left me with a broken heart, won her victory. Poor little fool, oh yeah, I was a fool, poor little fool, I was a fool, oh yeah. Well, I played this game with other hearts, but I never thought I'd see the day when someone else would play those foolish games with me. Poor little fool, oh yeah. Well, it's good to see you too. We made it to the weekend. It's almost Easter. A few more hours away. I gotta know who we're playing for tonight. Show of hands. Anybody remember our grandparents, Ozzie and Harriet? Yeah! We have any Ricky Nelson fans in here tonight? Yeah! Anybody remember us when they look like... Yeah! Some rockers in the audience. Okay. Well, this isn't that show. This is a different show. We actually, we'll get to that, right? Well, we actually put this show together because of a couple of reasons. One, For those folks that aren't familiar with our music, it's okay. We've sold about 10 million records so far to people who had no idea who Ricky Nelson or Ozzy and Harriet were. But our dad was our best friend, and that's what we're here for tonight. We just wanted to kind of visit with him a little bit. And you know, for those folks that aren't familiar with him, just go through the stats because we'll get to the important stuff later. I think, was it 400 million singles in his career? He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's in the top 10 of all-time selling pop music artists in history. He was a movie star with Rio Bravo, John Wayne, if you remember that. We'll get to that too. And we have the world's greatest home movies, folks. 435 episodes of Ozzy and Harriet to cut to. So that's what these screens are here for. You know, our pop was the most televised rock star in history, and he had probably one of the greatest rock and roll comebacks when he kind of was, I guess, credited with being one of the inventors of the whole California country rock movement that came out of Southern California. Surprised a lot of people. But more importantly than anything, he was just the nicest guy you'd ever meet. He really was. He was completely down to earth, completely unlike my brother Gunnar here. He was really, really... No. As a matter of fact, everybody, Gunnar Nelson right there on the Telecaster.
I gotta warn you folks, you never know what I'm gonna say.
Oh, no.
Good twin, evil twin, right? Funner with Gunnar, got that straight. Not Bruce Jenner, Matthew Nelson, everybody. Looking a little like Hillary Clinton there. Back there on drums, everybody, we stole him from Vince Gill and Amy Grant's band, Scotty Trammell. Folks, this is the show that we get to do because, because we loved our dad. He was our best friend, as Matthew was mentioning, a show that we love to do, not that we have to do. It's a really wonderful thing that you get to give us. Because we actually get to visit with our father. We feel like we miss him just a little bit less with every single song of his that we play. He was the greatest guy. He was funny. He was underrated when he was around. And this is the last show in the world our father would ever do for himself. He was so humble. And God made twins to get to do it for him in stereo. I love that. And, you know, quick show of hands here. How many in this audience are over the age of 55? All right, fair enough. For everybody that raised their hands, we want to acknowledge you because we are aware that it's your generation that invented rock and roll in the first place.
Yeah!
All right, so if you expected a sleepy show, you're going to be disappointed because you're not over the age of 55 tonight. You're 15 years old listening to these songs for the first time in the biggest back seats Detroit will ever design. You guys ready to have a good time? Because we are ready to bring it. All right.
For our dad, you know, he was a famous guy, grew up on the television show and stuff like that, but things kind of changed a little bit in the late 50s when he went on a date with a girl. She was a year older than he was. Her name was Arlene, and they both went to Hollywood High School when he wasn't on a soundstage, which was rare, and for some reason every boy at Hollywood High wanted to get a date with Arlene. She was a sure thing. There's that. And Arlene said yes to a date, but she wasn't thrilled about it for whatever reason. And our dad told us this story. He drove over to pick her up to go take her to a movie and impress her. And he said that he opened the car door and she sat down, a block of ice, named Arlene. And to save the date, he turned on a car radio, and Elvis was singing That's All Right Mama, and Arlene just completely forgot that Ricky Nelson was driving the car and lost her mind over Elvis. So to save the date, our pop said the only thing that came to his mind, which was something like, well, you know, he's not that great, and I'm going to make a record.
He had no plans to make a record.
Nope. Arlene turned and laughed in his face and said, oh, Ricky, give me a break. You sing, please. And he thought, I'm going to make one record no matter what it takes and hand it to her at school in front of her friends and say, now laugh. And it went crazy from there. He thought about it and went to his local record store. And by the show of hands, I know that some of you remember record stores in here. Yeah. It's called Wallach's Music City. He loved this place. That's where he used to go and hang out with his friends. And like all the teenagers in the 50s, you know, he would listen to the records. And, you know, especially the Sun Records guys. But for those people that don't know, Carl Perkins was his big musical hero. He wanted to be Carl Perkins. But that day he went to the back, and I guess at Wallach's you could actually, if you had enough allowance money, you could sing on a record that was a hit at the time, and the machine would replace the vocal with your vocal, and you could take it home on a little novelty 45 single that was designed by some genius to disintegrate after 30 spins on the player. You have to go get another one, but that's all he needed. You know, he figured I can hand it to her and say, here you go, here's my record. And it went a little bit even more nuts than that because he thought, it's just not good enough. I got to make this big. Let's go big or go home, right? Everybody knew, like our